Welcome to TechCast by Raqmedia.com, your quick stop for the latest tech news, smart hacks, and cutting-edge updates. Stay informed, stay ahead. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for all the latest tech news and trends. You know, today, we're diving deep into Web 3.0. It's a topic that's generating some serious buzz. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It's the future of the internet, really.
And you know those moments online when you feel like you're constantly being watched, like every click is tracked, every search is sold off to the highest bidder?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, Web 3.0 wants to change all that. It promises a user-focused revolution, putting you back in control.
It's about time, right?
I think so. And we've got a fantastic article from Raqmedia.com to guide us today. Unveiling the future. What is Web 3.0? What you need to know.
Sounds like a great place to start.
So no more feeling like our data is held hostage by these big tech companies.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, I'm all ears. Paint me a picture. What exactly is Web 3.0?
Okay, so think of it this way. Web 1.0. That was like that dusty old library, you know. You could find information, but it wasn't very interactive. Then Web 2.0 came along. Think Facebook, YouTube, all that user-generated content.
Ah, the good old days, right?
Well, sort of. But it also came with these giant companies controlling our data, using it for who knows what.
Targeted ads, for one.
Exactly. And that's where Web 3.0 flips the script. It's all about decentralization, taking that power back from those companies and giving it back to the users.
So instead of our data being stored on Facebook servers or in Google's cloud, it would be where exactly?
It would be distributed across a secure blockchain network.
Blockchain.
You've heard of it, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard the term, but to be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on what it actually is.
Okay, well, imagine a shared Google Doc, right? Everyone can see the edits, making it transparent and impossible to tamper with.
So it's like a permanent, unchangeable record.
Exactly. That's blockchain in a nutshell. A secure, distributed ledger spread across tons of computers so no single entity has control.
So in a Web 3.0 world, my data wouldn't be stored in one place. It would be spread out across this network. Okay, I'm starting to get it. But what does that actually look like for me? What changes in my online experience?
Well, for starters, you get true personalization.
Personalization.
Yeah.
But I thought we were moving away from targeted ads and all that.
We are, but this is different. Imagine AI algorithms that understand your preferences and tailor your online experience. But they're working for you, not for some corporation trying to sell you something.
So no more feeling like I'm being followed around the internet by those creepy targeted ads.
You got it. Instead, think curated recommendations based on your genuine interests.
That sounds pretty amazing, actually.
It is. And you know how some browsers are now rewarding users for viewing non-intrusive ads?
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never really understood how it works.
Well, take the Brave browser, for example. It uses blockchain to reward users with cryptocurrency for opting into privacy-respecting ads.
So I get paid to see ads?
In a way, yes.
That's interesting.
And advertisers benefit too because they're reaching a more engaged audience. It's a win-win.
Okay, I can see how that would be appealing to both sides. It feels like we're finally getting a taste of what a user-centric internet could look like. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I do want to remind our listeners that we have a ton of information about Web 3.0 and other cutting-edge tech trends on our website. So be sure to check out Raqmedia.com for more in-depth articles and resources. Now, back to Web 3.0. What else can I expect in this brave new world?
Well, imagine logging into any website or app with a single secure digital identity.
Like a universal login.
Exactly. But this one is completely under your control.
So no more juggling dozens of usernames and passwords.
Nope, just one. This digital ID would be portable, verifiable, and super secure.
So it's like having a digital passport that gives me access to the entire Web 3.0 world.
Precisely. Think about the possibilities. Secure online shopping, seamless access to your healthcare records, even voting online. All with one secure login that protects your privacy.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing stuff. I'm starting to see why people are so excited about Web 3.0. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the entrepreneurial side of things. What does this revolution mean for those looking to start businesses or launch new ventures?
It's a game changer, really. For one thing, imagine agreements and transactions streamlined by smart contracts.
Smart contracts.
Think of it like a vending machine for the digital world. You put in your digital tokens, you get what you paid for, no middleman, no hassle.
So these smart contracts, they're powered by blockchain technology, right?
Absolutely. They're self-executing agreements stored on the blockchain, which means they're automated, secure, and tamper-proof.
Okay, I'm following you.
Yeah.
Now, what about this term tokenization that I keep hearing about? How does that play into the Web 3.0 landscape for entrepreneurs?
Well, tokenization allows for fractional ownership of assets through, you guessed it, digital tokens. Remember those crypto kitties that were all the rage a few years back?
Gately.
Well, it was an early example of how blockchain can facilitate unique digital ownership.
Oh, I see.
In Web 3.0, entrepreneurs can use tokens to represent anything from real estate to intellectual property, opening up new avenues for investment and creating a more liquid market for assets.
So it was like owning a piece of something without actually owning the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's pretty fascinating. It sounds like a whole new frontier for entrepreneurs.
It really is.
But what about the challenges? Are there any potential downsides or roadblocks they should be aware of?
Well, of course. With any disruptive technology, there are going to be bumps in the road. Navigating the regulatory landscape is a big one. Governments are still figuring out how to approach this decentralized world.
Makes sense.
And then there's the issue of scalability. Blockchain technology is still evolving, and processing large-scale transactions efficiently can be a challenge.
So it's not a perfect system yet?
No, but it's definitely evolving rapidly.
Like the early days of the internet.
Exactly.
Full of potential, but also unknowns. Okay, let's shift gears again and talk about marketing. How does Web 3.0 shake things up in that world?
Well, think of it as a shift from spray and pray advertising to a more targeted, user-centric approach. In Web 3.0, consumers have more control over their data and their online experience, so brands need to earn their attention.
So less about bombarding people with irrelevant ads and more about building genuine relationships.
Exactly. It's about understanding your audience, respecting their privacy, and providing real value. And guess what? Blockchain can actually help with that.
Really? How so?
Well, it enables transparent ad metrics, which means no more shady data manipulation or inflated numbers.
Hold on, I'm not sure I follow. How does blockchain bring more transparency to advertising?
Because every interaction is recorded on the blockchain, it's virtually impossible to fudge the numbers. This gives advertisers a way to prove the legitimacy of their campaigns, and consumers can have more confidence knowing that they're getting what they paid for.
So it's not just about protecting user data, it's about creating a more trustworthy and accountable ecosystem for everyone involved.
Precisely. It's about building a more ethical and sustainable approach to digital marketing. Now, before we move on, I want to remind our listeners that if this conversation has sparked your curiosity about Web 3.0, you can find a wealth of information and resources on Raqmedia.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tech.
I second that. Our team at Raqmedia is dedicated to keeping you informed and ahead of the curve in this rapidly evolving tech landscape. Okay, back to our deep dive. For those of us who aren't tech wizards or entrepreneurs, what can we do to prepare for this Web 3.0 future?
You know, the most important thing is to stay curious and educate yourself. There are tons of online resources, articles, videos, even online courses that can help you grasp the fundamentals of Web 3.0.
So it's all about embracing that lifelong learner mentality.
Exactly. The world of tech is in a constant state of flux, and Web 3.0 is just the tip of the iceberg. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this new digital landscape.
I love that perspective. It's not about becoming an overnight expert. It's about having a thirst for knowledge and a willingness to explore new ideas. What are some practical steps our listeners can take to dip their toes into the Web 3.0 world?
We'll start by getting familiar with the core concepts we've discussed today. Blockchain, decentralization, cryptocurrency. Then explore some of the platforms and applications that are already using Web 3.0 technologies. We mentioned the Brave browser earlier. There are also decentralized social media platforms, marketplaces for digital assets, even games built on blockchain technology.
So it's about experimenting, finding what resonates with you, and learning as you go. What about connecting with others who are also exploring this space? Are there communities or forums where people can exchange ideas and information about Web 3.0?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of online communities dedicated to Web 3.0, blockchain technology, and the decentralized web. Don't be afraid to jump in, ask questions, and connect with others who are on the same journey. The beauty of this space is that it's driven by collaboration and a shared vision for a better internet.
It's like a global brainstorming session, with everyone contributing their ideas and expertise to shape the future of the web. This conversation has been incredibly eye-opening. I'm definitely feeling more excited than intimidated by Web 3.0 now.
That's great to hear. It's an exhilarating time to be involved in the world of technology. And who knows, you might even be inspired to create something amazing in this new decentralized landscape.
Maybe our listeners will be the ones building the next big thing in Web 3.0.
Wouldn't that be incredible? The possibilities are truly limitless.
I think you're right. Before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that you can stay up to date on all things Web 3.0 and other tech trends by visiting Raqmedia.com. We've got articles, tutorials, and the latest news to keep you informed and inspired.
It's your go-to source for navigating the ever-evolving world of technology.
And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us today for this deep dive into the world of Web 3.0. I hope you found it as enlightening and inspiring as I did.
The pleasure was all mine.
I think we've only just scratched the surface today. But it's clear that Web 3.0 has the potential to reshape the digital world as we know it.
Absolutely. And it's not just about technology. It's about changing the power dynamics of the internet, giving individuals more control, more ownership, and more freedom.
That's what I find so inspiring about this whole Web 3.0 movement. It's not just about making things faster or more efficient. It's about creating a more equitable and user-centric internet.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from profits to people, from centralized control to community empowerment.
It's a vision of the internet that I think a lot of people are hungry for.
And the best part is, it's not some far-off futuristic dream. Web 3.0 is being built right now, and we can all be a part of it.
That's the message I hope our listeners take away from this deep dive. It's not about waiting for someone else to build the future of the internet. It's about rolling up our sleeves and getting involved.
Absolutely. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a developer, a marketer, or just someone who cares about the future of the internet, there's a role for you to play in shaping Web 3.0.
So to our listeners, I say, don't be a spectator, be a participant. Explore the world of Web 3.0, ask questions, experiment, and contribute your unique skills and perspectives.
The future of the internet is being written right now, and it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future we can all be proud of.
Well said. That's a perfect note to end on. I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Web 3.0. I hope you found it as enlightening and inspiring as I did.
The pleasure was all mine.
And a huge thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for the latest tech news and trends. For more insightful deep dives into the world of tech, be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify. And don't forget to visit Raqmedia.com for all the latest in tech news and trends. Until next time, this is the Raqmedia TechCast, signing off. Special thanks to our scriptwriter, Ezadine Yahawi.
So it's like owning a piece of something without actually owning the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's pretty fascinating. Sounds like a whole new frontier for entrepreneurs.
It really is. But what about the challenges? Are there any potential downsides or roadblocks they should be aware of?
Well, of course, with any disruptive technology, there are going to be bumps in the road. Navigating the regulatory landscape is a big one. Governments are still figuring out how to approach this decentralized world.
Makes sense.
And then there's the issue of scalability. Blockchain technology is still evolving, and processing large-scale transactions efficiently can be a challenge.
So it's not a perfect system yet.
No, but it's definitely evolving rapidly.
Like the early days of the internet.
Exactly.
Full of potential, but also unknowns. Okay, let's shift gears again and talk about marketing. How does Web 3.0 shake things up in that world?
Well, think of it as a shift from spray and pray advertising to a more targeted, user-centric approach. In Web 3.0, consumers have more control over their data and their online experience, so brands need to earn their attention.
So less about bombarding people with irrelevant ads and more about building genuine relationships.
Exactly. It's about understanding your audience, respecting their privacy, and providing real value. And guess what? Blockchain can actually help with that.
Really? How so?
Well, it enables transparent ad metrics, which means no more shady data manipulation or inflated numbers.
Hold on, I'm not sure I follow. How does blockchain bring more transparency to advertising?
Because every interaction is recorded on the blockchain, it's virtually impossible to fudge the numbers. This gives advertisers a way to prove legitimacy of their campaigns, and consumers can have more confidence knowing that they're getting what they paid for.
So it's not just about protecting user data, it's about creating a more trustworthy and accountable ecosystem for everyone involved.
Precisely. It's about building a more ethical and sustainable approach to digital marketing. Now, before we move on, I want to remind our listeners that if this conversation has sparked your curiosity about Web 3.0, you can find a wealth of information and resources on Raqmedia.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tech.
I second that. Our team at Raqmedia is dedicated to keeping you informed and ahead of the curve in this rapidly evolving tech landscape. Okay, back to our deep dive. For those of us who aren't tech wizards or entrepreneurs, what can we do to prepare for this Web 3.0 future?
You know, the most important thing is to stay curious and educate yourself. There are tons of online resources, articles, videos, even online courses that can help you grasp the fundamentals of Web 3.0.
So it's all about embracing that lifelong learner mentality.
Exactly. The world of tech is in a constant state of flux, and Web 3.0 is just the tip of the iceberg. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this new digital landscape.
I love that perspective. It's not about becoming an overnight expert. It's about having a thirst for knowledge and a willingness to explore new ideas.
Yeah.
What are some practical steps our listeners can take to dip their toes into the Web 3.0 world?
Well, start by getting familiar with the core concepts we've discussed today: blockchain, decentralization, cryptocurrency. Then, explore some of the platforms and applications that are already using Web 3.0 technologies. We mentioned the Brave browser earlier. There are also decentralized social media platforms, marketplaces for digital assets, even games built on blockchain technology.
So it's about experimenting, finding what resonates with you, and learning as you go. What about connecting with others who are also exploring this space? Are there communities or forums where people can exchange ideas and information about Web 3.0?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of online communities dedicated to Web 3.0, blockchain technology, and the decentralized web. Don't be afraid to jump in, ask questions, and connect with others who are on the same journey. The beauty of this space is that it's driven by collaboration and a shared vision for a better internet.
It's like a global brainstorming session, with everyone contributing their ideas and expertise to shape the future of the web. This conversation has been incredibly eye-opening. I'm definitely feeling more excited than intimidated by Web 3.0 now.
That's great to hear. It's an exhilarating time to be involved in the world of technology, and who knows, you might even be inspired to create something amazing in this new decentralized landscape.
Maybe our listeners will be the ones building the next big thing in Web 3.0.
Wouldn't that be incredible? The possibilities are truly limitless.
I think you're right. Before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that you can stay up to date on all things Web 3.0 and other tech trends by visiting Raqmedia.com.
It's your go-to source for navigating the ever-evolving world of technology.
And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us today for this deep dive into the world of Web 3.0. I hope you found it as enlightening and inspiring as I did.
The pleasure was all mine.
I think we've only just scratched the surface today, but it's clear that Web 3.0 has the potential to reshape the digital world as we know it.
Yeah, and it's not just about technology. It's about changing the power dynamics of the internet, giving individuals more control, more ownership, more freedom.
That's what I find so inspiring about this whole Web 3.0 movement. It's not just about making things faster or more efficient. It's about creating a more equitable and user-centric internet.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from profits to people, from centralized control to community empowerment.
It's a vision of the internet that I think a lot of people are hungry for.
And the best part is, it's not some far-off futuristic dream. Web 3.0 is being built right now, and we can all be a part of it.
That's the message I hope our listeners take away from this deep dive. It's not about waiting for someone else to build the future of the internet. It's about rolling up our sleeves and getting involved.
Absolutely. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a developer, a marketer, or just someone who cares about the future of the internet, there's a role for you to play in shaping Web 3.0.
So to our listeners, I say, don't be a spectator, be a participant. Explore the world of Web 3.0, ask questions, experiment, and contribute your unique skills and perspectives.
The future of the internet is being written right now, and it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future we can all be proud of.
Well said. That's a perfect note to end on. I want to thank you again for joining us on this deep dive into Web 3.0. I hope you found it as enlightening and inspiring as I did.
The pleasure was all mine.
And a huge thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for the latest tech news and trends. For more insightful deep dives into the world of tech, be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify. And don't forget to visit Raqmedia.com for all the latest in tech news and trends. Until next time, this is the Raqmedia TechCast signing off. Special thanks to our scriptwriter, Ezadine Yayawi.